Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
Welcome in. It is a Friday, a football Friday at that. Steve Sparky Fifer with you. Charlie Usen, other side of the glass on a Friday. Charlie out last night celebrating his birthday, having beverages and all of that fun stuff. And we were talking in my office before the show, and this boy here, he's got himself some type of weird present.
It's not
giving
weird
things. Like, it is on a different level, the weird stuff people give Charlie Usen. I'm telling you what is weird. And then not only is it weird, then the way it was being weird, then they took it to a whole new level and had Mitch Thunder Nellis involved. And now some person is going to be like freaked out. They're like, thinks Charlie's a stalker. But we'll get to all of that coming up.
Things. The company sells these things.
They sell them.
They sold it to my girlfriend.
So somebody didn't just make it.
No, the company makes these.
That's reassuring that at least she didn't make it. Because I was like, that's kind of stalkerish what we're talking about here. We'll get into that later in the show. Ryan Wood, Green Bay Press Gazette, Packers beat writer, joins us coming up at 2:40. With his thoughts on Packers and Steelers here on a Friday. Then coming up at the 3 o'clock hour, Charlie Sounds of the Day, as always, at 3:40. We have Joe Bartel, Fantasy Football Friday with RotoWire Fantasy Sports at 4:20. Get your questions ready for that at 4:20. And then at 4:40, it's Follow the Money with Austin Herdina, as always, from the Potawatomi Sportsbook. That's going to be a lot of fun, too. Hopefully, y'all heard the Mike McCarthy interview earlier today on the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Thunder Nellis, brought to you by Verizon. We'll play a couple clips from that coming up at 3:20. Joe Thomas, the Hall of Famer, former and great Wisconsin Badger. He's going to join the Inside Wisconsin Sports Show with Trevor and Josh coming up on Monday morning at 7:40. And considering the Badgers play Oregon this weekend, could be a not so happy Joe Thomas Monday morning at 7:40. But we're going to talk some Badgers as well coming up at 3 o'clock. But it is a Friday. We always start a football Friday on this show as confident, concerned, and curious. What are you most confident about going into this game with the Packers? What are you most concerned about with the Packers going into this game? And what are you most curious to see involving the Packers going into this game Sunday night? And of course, we'll have the Green Bay Football Postgame Show, powered by Lakeland University, coming up Sunday night with Tommy Wirtz and myself, starting at 10:30, going till midnight. So make sure to be a part of that. We'd love to hear from you after the game on Sunday night. I know it's a late night. I know we all got to get up and go to work on Monday morning and all of that. So I get it if you can't stay up, but it would be cool if you could and be a participant in it. So if you want to participate in Confident, Concerned, and Curious, this is how you do it. Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250, as we broadcast live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Confident. All right, let's start with confident. I was looking at the numbers, the stats for team offense, team defense, team special teams, passing, rushing, both sides for offense and defense. And what you see is when you look up the Pittsburgh Steelers, not good against the pass. They've got decent pass rushers. They do. And the offensive line will have to do their job. But they give up a lot of yards through the air. Running the football, they do pretty good, just over 100 yards a game. So may not be able to run necessarily all that well against Pittsburgh. But they're not like some shutdown run defense. You realize the Packers are second in the NFL, allowing 70-some yards per game against the run? There was a whole piece, I forgot where I saw it, Roto World or something, about teams just gave up even trying to run against the Green Bay Packers. Like that, if you think about that, considering when they traded for Micah Parsons, about, oh, he can't stop the run. They can't stop the run. It's going to be a problem without Kenny Clark. Oh, no, the Packers are in trouble. Remember all of that? Where's that talk now? Now people are writing articles saying, yeah, they don't even bother trying to run against Green Bay. Now they're so good. I believe the only team better than the Packers in stopping the run is Seattle. That's it. So from a Packers standpoint, what I'm confident in, I'm confident that Jordan Love's going to have himself a day. That's what I'm confident in. He's going to show out. Now, I don't know if it's like Packer Cowboys playoffs first year as a starter show out. I'm not going to so you can go nuts like that. But I think he throws for like, I don't know, 260, 270, 3 scores, something like that. Show out. That's showing out in this offense, right? With Jordan Love, I'd say that'd be a hell of a day.
I would say so. You kind of stole my confidence a little bit, Sparky.
That's fine. We can be confident in the same thing.
We're confident in the same thing, but I'm going to be ultra-specific confident as well within this. I think Jordan Love is going to have a phenomenal game in this one. I think he needs to kind of have a phenomenal game in this one. Not for the fans, not for the Packers, but kind of for himself, just to kind of give himself that confidence that he's been growing all season so far. I think it's really important for him. But I'm going to double on that and say Tucker Kraft is going to match his stats at least from last game, and they're going to get consistent with him in the passing game here. I think what I've heard from Matt LaFleur all week, what I've seen from this Packers team and what people are saying about them through practice, it feels like they're starting to find their identity a little bit on offense. You saw those spurts in that game last week against the Cardinals where their offense looked really bad, but then really good. Yep. And then I think when you can see how drastic the difference is between those two sides of the game that they had last week, it's pretty easy to lean into what went right. And what went right was Tucker Kraft for a majority of that game. And you need to start going more into that. And I think last week we saw them do it in a more conscientious way than what was his first big game of the regular season. Last week it seemed more planned. I think you continue with that this week.
Yeah, and I think that the other part about this too, going into this game for the Green Bay Packers, if you're Matt LaFleur, right? Don't you want to show off Jordan a little bit? I mean, if you're Matt LaFleur, don't you want to show off the passing game a little bit? I mean, especially if you get Christian Watson back, right? Don't you want to shine up the toy before we go out there and be like, I know you were mad that we replaced you with this cat, but now we're going to show you why we went with this cat. That's me now. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Josh Jacobs will carry the ball like 30 times. Maybe that's what will happen. Ding dong, because he wants more carries. He's been complaining about that all week. So maybe he'll give him 30 carries. If it were me, I'd let him wing it. And if you know me, I hate the idea of that man throwing the ball 40 times a game. I'm absolutely against throwing that ball 40 times a game. I hate it. I may make an exception this week so he can just have at it. Wing it all over, throw the ball left to right, let him take some deep shots down the field to Matthew Golden and Christian Watson and try and carve up the Steelers defense. I think game planning wise, it might be a little leaning towards Jordan Love trying to put up big numbers in this one. If I was LaFleur.
After you see the injury report from yesterday of the Steelers and TJ Watt apparently dealing with this hip injury where he's still limited participant in practice. He's going to play, but he's going to be playing with some kind of duress under his body.
Normally we get the injury report at like 4:00, I think.
Mm-hmm. So I think this is something that we have to keep an eye on. And again, I think he's going to play, but he's not going to be playing at full strength. And I think if you're the Packers, you want to try to go at him a little bit and get him tired, get him out of this game so that you have that advantage at your hand. And I think you do that by a lot of quick passes over his head, which is going to involve a Tucker Kraft and a Josh Jacob in the pass game, hopefully.
Yep. What are you confident in, concerned about, and curious about? We're doing confident right now. Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. John in Franklin, you're first up on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, John?
Hey, Spark. Thanks for taking my call, as always. Appreciate the conversation.
You bet.
I am confident, to your point, that the fall Pittsburgh evening air will be filled with footballs. They may not all be going deep. I think there's going to be some ball control. I am concerned about what I touched on yesterday, what always gave me a degree of comfort when Rodgers was our quarterback. not. You wouldn't think he's going to let Micah beat him. So how is he going to exploit us? It would be very, I'm a little concerned about that. I know our secondary has been hot and cold, to say the least. And then my curiosity is how Hafley is going to take DK Metcalf away, because you know what you're going to be up against. It's not like four different guys you really got to worry about.
No, John, stop. If I'm Hafley, I don't care about DK Metcalf. Wide receivers don't kill this Packers defense under Jeff Hafley. I don't care about DK Metcalf. Do you know who I care about? I care about Pat Freiermuth, the tight end. That's who I care about. That is who gets all my attention, because these dudes can't stop a tight end if their life depended on it at this point, and Rodgers knows that.
I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. I was a little had some questions last week, as good as we did. On McBride out, we didn't do a better job with him, but DK is the big play guy that can take the lid off, and I know we're good at stopping that, but you're asking me what my curiosity is. That's what it is.
All right, fair enough. Thank you very much. I ain't worried about DK Metcalf. Now watch Metcalf a catch for 200 yards. Everybody be like, Sparky, you were wrong. Maybe I will be, but coming into this one, if I'm Hafley in that defense, I can play a corner and a safety over the top of Metcalf if that becomes a thing, right? If he hits one, okay, we'll adjust and we'll deal with it. You have to respect DK Metcalf's speed. You have to respect DK Metcalf's ability to get the ball at its highest point over a smaller DB, right? I'm not throwing shade like DK Metcalf ain't good. He's very good. But for me, the problem this defense has been defending tight ends. That's the issue. Now, how you deal with that, that's up to Jeff Hafley. I'm not the defensive coordinator. Part of me wants to say, let's see if Adrian Cooper can run with Freiermuth. Pretty sure he can. I don't think Freiermuth is all that fast. So let Adrian Cooper run with him. He goes out, you're his guy. Whatever the case may be. We may play zone, but it's going to be a boxing one in football style, right? We're playing zone, but you're running with Freiermuth wherever that cat goes. I don't know if they even play like that boxing one style, type defense like they do in basketball, but I might consider it here for Freiermuth.
Maybe. I mean, we watched a couple plays last week against Arizona where Adrian Cooper was the primary defender on Trey McBride, and he sneaks behind Adrian Cooper, who's not guarding anybody in front of him, in a zone defense where he should know to follow along with Trey McBride if there's nobody going to be in his zone in front of him. I think those are things where, yes, you do want an Adrian Cooper or Quay Walker to kind of take that responsibility and just shut that down on their own. But at the same time, I don't think either of them have shown they're ready for that type of responsibility. As athletic as Adrian Cooper is, it shows up in the run game really well, but it also kind of shows its kind of ugly side in the pass game. And if this is a game we're going to put that much pressure on him to guard, who's probably going to be their number one target, especially after last week where Freiermuth looked great, I think this is a situation where you may need to help bracket him with a safety or cornerback, which is something that's going to make you a little bit liable at wide receiver with DK Metcalf.
And again, that's all part of it. And we're going to hear from Jeff Hafley, by the way, because Jeff Hafley, that cat yesterday, he was in full defense mode of the secondary for the Green Bay Packers. We'll do that during the Green and Gold update coming up at 4 o'clock. All right, confident, concerned, and curious. I got a text message coming in here, 262. Tell me what you think. This is from Ziggy. Do you know a Ziggy?
I do not know.
He says, I'm confident Charlie is hungover.
Not that bad. A little bit. Not that bad, though.
How long did you drink last night?
Like 4 hours total, I guess. Yeah. Not that bad.
But you were drinking beer, right? You weren't doing shots or anything.
Well, Sparky.
Oh, maybe he was doing shots.
Well, kind of.
Do you remember any of the night? Do you remember anything?
Beers at a brewery tend to be a little bit heavier, so they have a little bit of a higher ABV.
But
I also may have had an old fashioned that was on tap. That was
my experience of watching people get trashed is mixing liquor and beer, and so that normally is how it goes the wrong way, right?
No, I remember everything about last night, but I'm also a little tired still, you know?
A little tired. That's all right. All right, fine. 262 also says, I'm concerned Rodgers will have one of those revenge games and torch our secondary. I'm curious if someone on either team will admit that it's more than just another game. That's from Ziggy on the Nicolay Law Talking Text line, which you can get on board as well, 414-677-1250. I think there's a better chance it happens after the game, if we're being honest. I think Like Rodgers going up to the Jets game, kept his mouth shut, didn't say nothing. Then after they won, then he said, it's really good being some of those guys in the front office, whatever the case is. Then he said his piece. Will Rodgers do the same thing here and mention Goody or Murphy or whoever? Murphy's not even there, so you can't be mad at him. But I'm like, it's nice to beat Goody's team here, on the way out. Still want to sign as a Packer, but yeah, kind of wanted to get that one in the books, right? Maybe he says that, but he really has been super over the top nice the entire week. Like, he is not playing it up at all. Not at all in this one. Again, if it's me, Jordan Love's the one that should be just juiced. Like, if I'm Jordan Love, I'm juiced. I want to beat this cat. I want to beat the teacher, student, mentor, whatever. I want to beat that. That's who I think is juice going into this one. If I want to show off and show this cat that I can play at a really high level and that they made the right choice.
I think so. I think there's a lot of players in this game that this means more to them than I think they're letting it on to be. I think with a Jordan Love, we talked about him earlier with that confidence, just going out there and outplaying an Aaron Rodgers, a Matthew Golden in a game like this. I think when you were not seen as the top wide receiver to a lot of people, when you haven't been that top wide receiver so far this season, and then also now you're going up against a player in DK Metcalf that a lot of people wanted over you in a situation like this in this offseason, you have to go out there and ball out as best you can. So there's a lot of young players. There's a lot of guys out here that I think this game is going to mean a little bit to them more than just Aaron Rodgers being on the field on the other side.
Here's Charlie Houston, C Sparky Fifer with you. Confident, concerned, and curious. Packers and Steelers. We've done confident. We have not done concerned and curious yet. Trell, north side of Milwaukee. You're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, Trell?
Hey, what's going on?
How are you?
Hey, Sparky, would you say Pittsburgh is a good team?
No. I'd say they're probably middle of the road team, probably destined to be, 9 wins maybe, 9-10 wins, somewhere like that.
I think they're a good team. So the reason why I asked the question is because that's what I'm confident in. This year, as we've seen, to me, the Packers play better with their level of competition or to see better than them. But the teams that are not, they play down to them. So, which was totally different last year. Last year, they couldn't beat the good teams, and they would tomato paste the teams that were lesser competition than them. So that's kind of a difference of 2 years. But I would say I'm confident the Packers are going to show up and have a good game. I am concerned that the offensive line is going to hold up because I believe that could just smatter the whole game plan, and then we'll be looking at trying to find a way to get out of there with a win. And I'm curious the psyche of Jordan Love. Is he pumped to play? Does he want to prove a point that the Packers made the right decision? How does he feel going into that game? Does he want to have one of those vintage games in his name in a Packer uniform so people can move all the way past Aaron Rodgers and start to believe in him more? So that's my confidence, my curious, and my concern.
Very good. I appreciate you, Trill. Thank you very much. Listen, when we talk about are they good, there aren't really great teams, if we're being honest right now, the National Football League. The Packers are the best team in the NFC, and I think we all agree they don't look like a great team.
Not super confident about that.
Right?
Yeah.
They don't look like a great team. So, again, not meaning to disparage, if you're a Steelers fan, your team, just saying, if you look at the Steelers' numbers, there's nothing great. They're not great at throwing the ball. They're not great at running the ball. They're horrible at stopping the pass. They're mid on stopping the run. There's nothing about the Steelers that yells, oh boy, this is a great team they're going to have to play. Nothing. What it screams is they're like 500. Maybe they get to 9 or 10 wins with some Aaron Rodgers magic in a game or two where he leads an improbable drive and they win a football game. But it doesn't appear to me that this is some superb team. At the same point, you can make the exact same case for the Packers, where it doesn't appear that they're great either. They also appear to be like a mid-level team, and they have the best record in the NFC at this point. So where you could defend that. Ryan Wood, Green Bay Press Gazette Packer beat writer, coming up in about 20 minutes. All right, what are you concerned about, Charlie?
I'm concerned about in this game whether or not this is going to be something like the Dallas Cowboys game where the bigness of the game takes over for the Green Bay Packers, and it makes them shut down a little bit at points. One of the sides of the ball. I think it could potentially be offense, especially in that run game. I think this is something where, again, we're going to have to rely on a Jordan Love a lot. And if you're relying on a Jordan Love a lot in a game like this, that also means he's going to make mistakes. And you have to kind of roll with those mistakes. But in a game like this, where you have Aaron Rodgers on the other sideline, where that storyline means a lot to Jordan Love, means a lot to a Matt LaFleur, I think there's a situation where you could see one of those two guys implode a little bit. And that's what I'm a little bit concerned about.
All right. I will tell you I'm concerned, as I said earlier, about Pat Freiermuth. That's my concern. I don't need this dude catching 8 balls for 100 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns. That's my concern. I'm willing to live with everything else. Running the football, again, there's nothing special about running the football with this offense based on their team numbers. So I don't get too concerned about that. The Packers' run defense has been really, really good. Now, maybe they come into this game and they go, we're going to run the ball and not ask Aaron to do as much. That sounds great. He's never going to allow them to do that.
Have you met Aaron Rodgers?
There's no chance Aaron Rodgers is allowing that. There's just not. You can call as many running plays as you want. That dude's checking and he's throwing. He wants to be the guy that puts on a show too. So from that perspective, I don't get too worried about their run game or anything else. I get concerned about a tight end that's pretty decent, and Freiermuth is pretty decent. He hasn't had that huge, gigantic, outstanding game as of yet with Rodgers. And I don't want it to be against the Green Bay Packers. Curious. What are you curious about, Charlie?
I'm curious to see how many times they compare Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers in the broadcast of this game throughout the course of this game.
It's going to be the over-under at 10.
Over 10, I think.
Over 10.
That's kind of where I'm at right now. I mean, I feel like this is the biggest storyline, but I feel like there's other things to talk about with this game. There's other things to talk about with the state of the NFL that I think both these two franchises are big parts of right now. And I think there's more to talk about within this game than just Jordan Love looks like Aaron Rodgers statistically at this point in the season.
So if you're the National Football League, and if you're Major League Baseball, who has the World Series starting tonight, if anybody's going to watch that, you have... Those are two big things, right? NFL weekend always draws huge numbers. World Series will draw the biggest numbers they have all year. You put a gag order on your announcers and say no talking about the FBI and the NBA and all of that and stay away from that conversation. Do you tell them to stay away from it? Or do you say nothing and hope that everybody's not talking about it at some point? Because I'm just saying, from a competitive advantage or a competitive standpoint, now the NFL is king, they don't care about the NBA, but from a competitive standpoint, if you wanted to stand on the NBA, here is your chance to stand on the NBA if you so choose.
I mean, the NBA flubbed their opening week with this. I mean, this is kind of the worst possible scenario for that league right now.
Has Silver said anything?
No, Silver, he came out or he didn't come out, but representatives said that they did an investigation.
He's had no press conference. He's had nothing.
Also, though, it took him 2 weeks to have a press conference about the Kawhi Leonard situation. So we may see. This may take a little while for him to come out.
Got to get that media relations team all set up and understand how we're going to approach this going forward. That's all they've been in his media relations meetings probably for the last 24 hours, I would imagine. I will say I am curious to see if the Packers can do anything with returning a punt. And you're like, Sparky, why is that a thing? Okay. So do you realize that the top teams in the NFL returning punts are averaging over 20 yards? I think the top one is 23 yards, something like that. You want to take a guess what the Packer average return is on a punt?
I don't know. Last game they did pretty good because Bo Melton had that one long return. Savion Williams had a couple. Probably not that much. I would say they're probably more middle of the league. Maybe.
How much?
18.
18 yards.
Yeah.
Less.
15 yards.
Keep coming.
12 yards.
Not close.
They're in the single digits. 5 yards.
Yes.
That's insane.
Dead last.
What's the next one up? Do you know?
7, I think, maybe.
So a whole 2 yard difference, but that's not good either. 7's awful.
Right.
So, how do you not be in double digits? That's atrocious.
Right. I mean, that's the thing is when we talk about special teams and Versace and all of that, man, they've got to find something to go with on special teams. Kickoffs are not that bad. They're more in the middle of the pack. But punt returns, Horrible. Absolutely horrible. All right, coming up next, we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about stuff that we heard yesterday from Pat Murphy and specifically about maybe a new plan of attack as far as how he's going to coach this team by bringing in some NBA-ness to this Brewers roster. What does that mean? I'll tell you. Next, it's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. See Sparky Fifer here. Don't forget, Bucks play tonight in Toronto. That's Goofy World Series is going on, so it's a 5:30 tip tonight, Milwaukee time. Just a heads up there. And when the Bucks win, you win at Wendy's. After every Bucks win, stop by any participating Wisconsin Wendy's for a free small vanilla or chocolate frosty classic. No purchase necessary. This offer is only good for 24 hours after a win, so act fast and get the free small frosty classic at Wendy's. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Charlie using other side of the glass. Coming up, Ryan Wood, Packers beat writer for the Green Bay Press Gazette, joins us in a little bit. I don't know, next 10 minutes or so, somewhere in that area. I'm not sure what everybody else played today from the Brewers pressers yesterday involving Matt Arnold. Congratulations again on becoming president and general manager. And Pat Murphy. They talked yesterday afternoon. We did not have the sound before we got off the air. And then Tommy Wirtz played some of it. I know I was listening to it on the Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up Show from 5 to 6. Tommy will be back on again today from 5 to 6. You'll hear from more from Mike McCarthy from 5 to 6. I'm pretty sure he'll probably play that interview in its entirety, would be my guess. So make sure to stay tuned for that. He was on with the Mason Crosby show with Mitch Thundernell. It's brought to you by Verizon earlier today. But something from Pat Murphy that he said stuck out, and there was a piece on Brewer Fanatic about it. Pat Murphy is trying to talk about bringing something that the NBA has made famous that makes fans mad and bring it to your very own Milwaukee Brewers in hopes of having better postseason success. What is that? Listen.
Do we know for sure that if Contreras caught 10 less games, we would have been better then? No. But it speaks to the fact of how big of a grind it is, especially when you play like we play, meaning we have a bunch of guys that are, for lack of a better term, overachievers, guys that play above their physical talent. And is there something about that crushes them after a while? They play so hard, a Durbin or a Terang, a Sal. Is there something to that we need to protect them, that they're a little bit fragile while they're young? Do we need to schedule the off days differently? It's not a guaranteed recipe there. You know what I mean? It isn't just as easy. It's not a magic number.
Okay, so what he's talking about is rest days. He's talking about not playing these dudes a ton. Now, he also mentioned, or they mentioned, the idea of they're going to play Yelich more in left field next year. I, for one, am all in favor of that. But they also have to treat that with kid gloves because of the idea of, does he get hurt again with his back if he plays too much in the outfield? That clearly is going to be a concern. The question we have is, you think part of the Brewers' issue is that guys are playing too much in the regular season? Nicolay Law, fan talking text line, 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Socials at WI Sports Radio, no matter where you may be listening. Green Bay, Appleton area on WNFL 99.7 FM, or maybe you're in Wausau on 93.9 The Game, Duluth Superior, 710 The Game, of course in Milwaukee on 1250 AM or 105.7 FM The Fan. Want to hear from everybody around the state on this. Do you think part of the issue is these guys simply are playing too much during the regular season, and that eventually it wears them out? They're tired come the end of the season. It's the very first time in my life I've heard a manager suggest such a thing. And my initial reaction to that is, makes sense. Makes sense. 162 games, a lot of baseball games. You're playing 6 games a week. Sometimes you're playing 7 or 8 games a week if you have a doubleheader to make up or something like that. It is a lot of wear and tear on the body. Now the question becomes, as he said, there's no magic number. What then is the plan of attack? How do you go about this? And more importantly, will they buy into it? And the reason that's important is because if Contreras, let's say, is trying to get paid in 2 seasons as a free agent, he ain't going to want to hear he's got to sit 20 games to make sure he's more fresh in the postseason. And as Terang and Frelick and these guys get closer to free agency, they don't want to be missing those at bats, not because they can't play or because they suck, but because they're trying to get them ready for the postseason. Everybody's got to buy into this. You don't want bitterness. You don't want guys talking behind your back about how stupid this is. He's screwing me out of money. Like, everybody has to be on the same page. Murphy has to have full buy-in if they decide to go this way. And again, I'm not opposed to it. I think it makes sense, Charlie.
What helps is that he has a young team. I think a young team is a lot more malleable. You can work with them. You can get them to buy in a lot easier in situations like this.
I've never used that word in a sentence in my life.
Malleable?
It's a good word. I've never used it. Go ahead.
I'm
Very
glad
good.
I can be a good
That's good.
thesaurus.
Yeah,
for you
yeah,
over
that's
here.
good. Yeah.
But I think that'll make it a lot easier for a lot of these guys to buy in. I think guys like Churio are already bought in. I think Bryce Trang's already bought in. I think these guys, yes, they're going to be a little frustrated that it's going to affect their contracts. But if it results in them doing better in the playoffs, if they win a World Series, that helps your contract a little bit. You can definitely get paid off of that having a ring. So that may be the upside, and that's what he's got to try to sell them if he's going to do this.
The other part about this is instead of just saying we need a couple more difference makers on this roster. That's what's separating us and them. We're short like maybe one or two difference makers. You don't have to say position. You don't say anything, right? Let the media run with it. They think you mean a pitcher or they think you mean third base or shortstop. But he's not necessarily doing that. What he is saying, and he's standing on, which is we got the team. We got the guys. We have a team that I know we can beat them. We just didn't play well. And that's what he's been rolling with. And to that, I say, great. It's better than hearing, oh, I was just lucky to be here with this crappy, talented roster that I got because they're really not all that good. Like I've been telling you all year long. Thank God I didn't have to listen to that. But so I'm cool standing on that and saying that, and now you're going this direction with that. But I just wonder if behind closed doors, that's a conversation piece of Mark, step into our office. And Matt and Pat are both sitting there, and they're like, he's going to be executive of the year. I'm going to be manager of the year again. And Pat would never do this, but again, right? We're begging you. We're pleading with you. Can you please pony up money for us to get at least one impact bat to put in this lineup next year? I just need one more bat to put in this lineup, and we will be there, and we will have our chance. I just need one bat. I'm not asking for 3. I'm not asking for 5 players. I need one. I'll deal with whatever else you want to give me. We'll be fine. Just I need one big-time bat. Can you get me one bat? I would put pressure on Mark because that's where this all comes from. They have to pressure him internally to spend that money.
I think so. And I think that you don't even have to have Pat Murphy and Matt Arnold go do that. I think one of those guys can go and show him all the videos of just somebody standing and spinning around AmFam Field during the playoffs and the stadium being full and loud and people just showing up for this team, how much they believe in this team. I'm not saying this guy specifically, but if the Brewers were to go out and spend some money and get a Juan Soto, people would be there night in, night out, day in, day out. And if you could go and do that somehow.
Or Alonso.
That's a lot of money for you.
Alonso's old, but Alonso or Schwarber. If you're saying Yelich is going to play more and left, well, now you can have the Schwarber conversation at his old age. And you might be able to get Schwarber on a 2-year deal or something short because he's older than dirt. So there might be something there.
You got to convince him that spending the money now is going to mean more money for him in the long term. Because right now, that's what he cares about. He's pretty open about that. That's about having fun, but also making money for him. You have to show him that there can be more than just making the money here. You can still make money and also win.
Right. And that's the thing, right? Make money and also win. And win not 97 games, but win a damn World Series. Because that's what this is supposed to be about at the end of the day. Or at least that's what we all think it's supposed to be about at the end of the day. Hey, Sports Talk on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network is presented by Paramount Plus. Count on Sundays all season long with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Up next, Ryan Wood of the Green Bay Press-Gazette, Packers beat writer, will join us as he does each and every Football Friday. Looking forward to getting his thoughts on this Packers-Steelers game and what his game plan would be going into this thing. This Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Really, the question is, are we playing this for the next guest? Did it randomly just come up in timing with the next guest? I don't know. I
think we should let him believe we played it for him.
Well,
at least, you know?
He knows. He knows, I think, at the end of the day, what it's all about. Hey, Bucks play tonight in Toronto against the Raptors. 5:30 tip for that one because of the World Series. So don't forget to tune that game in. And when the Bucks win, you win at Wendy's. After every Bucks win, stop by eating participating Wisconsin Wendy's for a free small vanilla or chocolate frosty classic. No purchase necessary. This offer is only good for 24 hours after a win, so act fast. That free small frosty classic at Wendy's. So there you go. Time now to bring our next guest on.
What's the latest on the Pack? Let's go inside the locker room with Packers beat writer Ryan Wood of the Green Bay Press-Gazette on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan.
One of the fine affiliates of the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, just like our fine folks in Green Bay at 99.7 FM, WNFL, Wausau 93.9 The Game, and Duluth Superior, again, 710 The Game. There, joining us now is Ryan Wood, and he joins us on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. Ryan, how are you today?
I'm doing great. And Sparky, I'm going to go with A for the answer. I know, and how you feel about me. I appreciate that, and it's good to be your hero.
I can't say you're my hero when you root for a team associated with that idiot Tyrese Halliburton. I cannot do it. I will not do it. Absolutely not. I was watching that game last night, rooting against the Pacers with all my might, hoping the Thunder smoked them. Halliburton's prancing around in his pink sweater. Like, oh my goodness gracious.
That just makes you a terrible person, but that's okay. I love you anyway. You saw the pink, right?
Mm-hmm.
You imagine my affinity for the man.
Yeah, you and your pink
great.
suit coat. Yes, I understand that you guys have that synergy and so forth. But I can't do it. Okay, Ryan Wood, you tell me going into this game, if you're Matt LaFleur, do you, A, run a game plan like you would any other week, or do you, B, try and showcase a little Jordan Love in this game?
A, just get the job done.
Yeah.
Win's a win.
No.
That's an easy one.
No.
Wait, you're moving.
Jordan Love,
Oh,
we're wigging it this week, baby. We're throwing it 35, 40 times. We're taking shots downfield, and we're going to put you on display and let you have a career game. The Steelers' defense against the pass is like second to last in the league.
You know what the good news is here? There is a C option, and that option is all of the above.
Sure.
Because who's to say against this Steelers secondary, which gives up explosive plays like Oprah gives out cars. like that's what they do. Who's to say airing it out's not the answer?
Right.
Okay. I understand this offense needs to run the football to be its best. Josh Jacobs is the engine that makes it go. This Steelers defense gives up a lot of explosive plays. Now, however, they do not give up a lot of explosive plays at home. They have had 2 games inside their home stadium this season. They held the Cleveland Browns to 9 points. Fine, cool, whatever. They held the Seahawks to 17. 26 points in 2 home games. They have been much, much better at home than they have been on the road. When week 1 in New York, they gave up 32 points to Justin Fields, who, according to his own owner, cannot complete a pass without great difficulty.
Yep.
It's been a bad defense on the road, but it's been pretty good at home. So I think that matchup is it's worth checking that split.
Okay, so the injury report just came out. I just got it emailed to me. Questionable people this week. Warren Brinson with a hamstring, questionable, limited participant. Matthew Golden with a hip, questionable, limited participant. Brandon McManus, limited participant, questionable. Christian Watson, who has the ability to come back, questionable, limited participant. And the other one, Devontae Wyatt, who practiced again, limited participant, questionable. Of those 5 guys that are listed as questionable, who do you think plays Sunday night in Pittsburgh?
You know, this is my very favorite question of the week, right? Because I know no one ever has any idea with this team who's going to be.
Well, here you go, Ryan. You can be everyone's hero and get this right.
Yeah, thank you. No pressure or anything. Let's just purely guess and be a hero.
That's right. Yes.
Christian Watson thinks he's playing this week,
Good.
so I'm going to go with he's playing.
All right.
Kind of let the cat out of the bag there, and I'm not sure Matt LaFleur was too thrilled about it, but here's the thing with Christian Watson, though. I mean, what's he playing? Like 10, 15 snaps? That's all there's going to be. So I think he's going to be on the field. I don't think he's going to have a big impact on this game. It sure looks like Devontae Wyatt is going to be playing. He has gotten through the entire week of practice. He was on the field again today. And if he is, I like that. That is the guy to me. The Packers don't win this game if Devontae Wyatt is not good. They need that interior pass rush against Aaron Rodgers, who knows how to beat this defense. Aaron Rodgers getting rid of the football, third fastest time to throw, according to Next Gen stats, in all the league this year. Only Patrick Mahomes and Dylan Gabriel are more. No, two different guys there. But the point is, he gets rid of the ball fast. How do you help solve that and make sure the rush gets to him? You have Devontae Wyatt go straight up the middle. That is what they need. It sure looks like he's going to play. How good is he going to be is the big question. As far as Brandon McManus goes, I think the thought was if he's going to kick this week, and he did kick this week, that he'd be playing. So I would expect him to play.
Okay, let's talk about this defense and the cornerbacks. Jeff Hafley did a masterful job. We'll play some clips coming up at 4 o'clock defending his corner play to this point. Do you think the criticism of the corners has been overblown by the fans?
Yeah, it depends on how significant the criticism is. Like, I haven't seen acute corner criticism. I've seen a lot of Matt LaFleur is an idiot and needs to be fired criticism, which I think is insane. I've seen a lot of this team's going nowhere, which I think is absolutely insane for pre-Halloween.
Yep.
I haven't seen are fans thinking that this quarterback group is atrocious and terrible? Yeah, that's overblown. Are they saying that they need to, do a better job of not blowing coverages and whatnot? And not that it was just the corners. Keyshawn Nixon might have been responsible for that Trey McBride first touchdown. I'm not sure the corners had anything to do with it.
Passer rating against, they were both over 100 in that last game.
Here's my thing with Jeff Hafley.
Hobbs and him.
Said.
Yeah.
He's factually accurate. They're averaging 5.8 yards per pass.
Yeah.
I think the pass rush has more to do with that than the secondary, but it's not like the secondary has nothing to do with that. And 5.8 yards per pass is 5.8 yards per pass. It doesn't just lead the league. That is an elite number.
That is. You're right about that.
What Jeff Hafley said is that's not wrong, and it's also really good because in this league, we just talked about Pittsburgh Steelers defense giving up explosive plays. If you're not giving up explosive plays, you win a lot of games.
All right, I got to roll here, Ryan Wood. Quickly, who wins? You don't have to give me a score.
I am taking Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Phone's breaking up. Sorry. There goes Ryan Wood. Coming up next, best and worst case scenario for the Badgers the rest of the season. What is it really? We'll talk about that next.